Good morning, Kalimera Anthropos. Kai Kalos Irtates OIKONOMIKA. Welcome everybody to OIKONOMIKA, all about economics and finance. So, just doing a quick live update. I will just share with you the data that the statistical data that we got from the ECB database portal, which is open to anybody, and any econometrician can find, or PhD researcher, or anybody can find this data of any country in the Eurozone, and also the aggregate data of the Euro area, Eurozone, all sorts of things that you would like to find and to know about. So just quick overview, preliminary surface overview of Italy's data, statistics, because I repeat the same thing. The Istat portal, it's a nightmare. I have to admit, I don't know how to use the SDMX language, and so also I cannot use Eurostat and stuff like that. So for me, it's a bit of a problem, right? Okay, so I just managed, just about managing. Here we have the prodotto interno lordo, which is not seasonally adjusted. And it's crap. It's holy crap. Hey, so what are you talking about? Yeah, what I'm talking about. Oh, we have been talking about for ages and ages and ages. It's fucking crap. No, I mean. Anyways, so my monitor is jumping and screaming, but they were right in the butt. Right, what we got here? So it's awful. Hi, blah blah blah. Trying to see the yearly gross domestic product, economic growth. Just googled it, how to calculate it on Excel. I may be wrong, I don't know. So it's the compounded product of the 4 quarters. So here we see, for example, like it's like 4 quarters 2024 gross domestic product was 0.24, and if we make the average of the 4 quarters, it's 0.13, and 2023 same, 0.24, 0.25, the average it's 0.24, just to be generous, magnanimous. And 2022 was slightly recessive, although the average it's 0.5, so there is a different results if we use the compounding formula, the product of the compounding formula, or if we take the average of the 4 quarters. Of course, these are two different algebraic formulas. So what I was really surprised, surprise, is 2021. 2021 was bollocks, 1.6%, and was 2% on average. I mean, quarter-on-quarter growth was decent. And also 2020, we have this huge vol here, -5, -12, +14. So on average, the compounded GDP was 0.27 something. The average was -0. So it was not that disastrous. Of course, then if you go and see for 0 point something or here how much debt and deficit has been done, then you understand how politicians are crap in managing public finances. As in fact, I will get rid of all of them. No matter the color or the political badge, they are useless. They are a menace and a danger to innocent people. Politicians, they are truly, truly dangerous. Because they are mental. They live according to ideology. So they are, by definition, they are mental. They are extremists. Although if they are wolves in sheep's clothing. So they are totally useless. Honestly, they just make disasters after disaster after disaster. So, okay, 2004, 2003. What you talking about? No, I'm just talking. Doing a live for the happiness of YouTube. And just doing some few things. Okay, so what we can see. Okay, so let's now see a few things for now. Okay, so what I can say of which can be more insightful and what I'm about to say is not something that is not my idea. It actually comes out from a well-documented research which was realized by somebody at an Italian university. So I was reading this, well, it's not 40 pages, it's 40 pages, but 20 pages, they are all charts and stuff like that. Okay, so why politicians, they are crap and useless. I would, if I had the power, I would get rid of them totally, or all of them. That doesn't mean I want to abolish democracy. No. Get rid of all the politicians and just make direct democracy. Okay, so if we want to build something in some parts of the country, we make one huge Google meeting of all the population, make a direct vote for the people and made by the population, and then they decide, okay, I want to build this road, I don't want to build this road, but everything must be peaceful. No intermediation of these people who gets 10,000, 13,000 euro a month for working 1 day and a half during the week. I really are. Yeah, okay, so anyway, so because you are all what it counts is football. So Perotti, of course, must be the Argentinian football player who played for Rome, right? No, so we have Blanchard, Perotti. So anyway, when you read all these 40 pages, like 20 pages, what they found out is that it's totally useless, it's completely useless to repeat the United States fiscal policy in other countries, whatever is the country, because they empirically discovered or demonstrated that the fiscal stimulus that it's utilized in Italy or I don't know, any other country that you like, it does not last as long as the United States. So what they find when they implement a VAR model or a structural VAR model, because Perotti is it's a very important economist with Blanchard. They created an important structural VAR model, and also there is the structural Bayesian VAR model. Okay. And now I'm talking Arab for some people, many people. So anyway, we can see it here, okay. It's very, very simple to see, because we have now I'm not, what I want to share with you all is that during lockdown we have a lot of fiscal stimulus, but the final result of GDP growth, it's okay for 2020 or for 2021. So when you have a huge fiscal stimulus, it can keep you up for let's say 4 quarters, 2021, or end 2020, 8 quarters, okay, which is already, it's quite a substantial length of time. But what has been demonstrated, that when a country as large as the United States or China, for example, or other large countries, large economies, I suppose also India, for example, okay, when they do fiscal stimulus, when fiscal spending it's utilized into the economy as an impulse, right? The response of GDP is not short-lived, like as was in Italy, okay, or even in the UK or Belgium or France or Germany, which are relatively medium-sized economies. The response function of a fiscal stimulus, which is done in the United States, it lasts longer than 4 quarters. So, the conclusion is, it's not a good idea to take fiscal policy from the United States and ceteris paribus apply the same model in Italy. It doesn't work. You waste a shitload of money without achieving a dry fig of nothing, right? So, ignorance is the biggest problem among politicians and those who sell hot air, okay? Because here you see there is a lot of fiscal stimulus, which I'm not quantifying now, but I can open revenue, productivity. Okay, we find, I will load up the government spending, but it's common knowledge that in 2020, in this period, there is a lot of fiscal spending. Debt to GDP goes 138, 139, 140% of GDP. But then the end result, it's on average 2% in 2021, right? Then the year after, you see the fiscal stimulus, and also in the following years, the fiscal stimulus that the country has taken on, it does not have any results in GDP. So the response of gross domestic product, it lasts, it shows up for 3-4 quarters, okay? So, fiscal shock, no, fuck off. That's it. The clear answer, clear and plain answer, right? That's it, first of all, because I have many stones in my shoes. Now, let's see fiscal spending. If I find it, because I have, okay, government expenditure as a percentage of GDP, let's see if we find. So we see here, like in the past 2 years, GDP growth has been really, really minimal, okay? And I don't mind, for me it's plus or minus. The thing is fiscal sustainability. It's useless to take this GDP data in isolation and say, okay, oh, the economy, it's not growing. The economy, it's not, or wages or productivity or savings are not improving in proportion of what? Of GDP, GDP, of fiscal deficit or inflation. I know these are well-known things, but I don't mind to have 0 point something growth, but the problem is fiscal sustainability, because at the end of the fanfare, politicians take 10,000 euro, 13,000 euro a month in their pockets every month for doing nothing, right? While 50, 60 million people, they have to pay, a lot of taxes. And we will see here now. It's not only the question of paying taxes, it's that any politician should not be allowed to award themselves with 10,000, 15,000 euro a month. In Italy, where it's in France, they are not worth a fucking penny of what they do. Yeah. So we see here that government tax burden as a percentage of GDP, it's now 42%, 0.3, 42.9, 43% as of Q2 2025. So fiscal pressure is high. This column, which basically see what is the growth, annual rate of growth of the fiscal pressure. Okay, so you see that this here, the tax burden of the government on the economy, it's always growing quarter on quarter. It doesn't matter who sits in Rome. Okay, they are all crap. They are all crap. Really, they are all crap. I honestly, I don't need these people. I don't need these people to exist. I don't. For me, they are useless. They are a menace to ordinary people. Okay, so okay, that is some. And it's not only in Italy, I mean in any country. I think it would be very useful. We are in Europe, just get rid of the national parliament. Just only have one parliament in Europe, so we start to cut spending. Right? I don't need the national politicians, all this crap that goes round and round. And they get paid tens of thousands of euros, while ordinary people, they are starving. Right? I don't need these people. They are not of any good use to me. Let's have one parliament in Brussels, and that's it. End of the story. Why this doesn't happen? Because they will lose power. The local mafia would not have any more power. They want the votes, they want the money, etc., etc., etc. It's always the same fudge, all the time. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, in 2024, they collected 934 billion here. What they do with all this money? So the net amount collected has been increasing, which is good. I don't mind to pay taxes. Whenever somebody has a decent income to pay taxes, that's no problem. The problem is, how do you use this money? If you have to put in your pocket 10,000 euro, no, you are stealing my money. That's not fair. Anyway, 2019. Okay, yes, that's natural because 2019, 2020 there are less revenues. I learned that as well. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 50-50. Indiano o Francia? Allora, Q4, Q1, here we are. Anyways, so let's take the average on all the time series here. Yeah, average tax burden in Italy is 41%. It's really high. It's really high. It's not dramatic, but 40%. It's not dramatic, but the thing that it's really strange. It's like here, you see 1999, year 2000, there is a sudden jump. 2841, so there must be some inconsistency here. It's probably the better column is that one, because there is no jump, and there are all these numbers, these letters, which define the ECB. They use letters as acronyms to shorten the. So it's quarter. Okay, so GFS, government finance statistic, Q quarterly frequency, N national currency, IT Italy, W not consolidated, S13 revenue, S1 taxes, not seasonally adjusted at current prices, ODC domestic currency unit, which is the euro, thank God. Z multiple placeholders, often for detailed subcategories, XDC, blah 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 blah, XDC RBI1 indicates ratio gross domestic product at market price current year. Okay, stocks value current year, T total taxes. Okay, I need to ask the help of so this one, so this is Christmas, blah 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 blah. Is it the same, or there is something which is not really the same? Oh, it's the last part, last bit. Taxes, taxi. Where you off to, mate? Where you off to? What are you talking about? Where you off to? Oh, Jesus Christ. Why Murdoch is a menace? Murdoch is a menace. Murdoch corporations, they are a menace. They are really like a really bad corporate structure. Really bad corporation. Really bad. Yeah, really bad, truly bad. So, yeah, revenues are growing, 934 billion, and wow, these are 52 billion more, 50 billion more. Well, it's a lot. 50 billion more from one year to another. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Okay. So here we have Instead of flows, we have stock of debt. Okay, so probably here it accounts also for the flows or something like that. There is a little nuances in the thing. National account basis and the tax. But anyway, the average in the past 30 years or something, 25, 30 years, is 41%. So the government, they collect taxes. They could collect even more, but GDP, it has always been very sluggish. 2012, 2008, yeah. So we have a recession in 2001. There is not any massive year, and you can see, okay, wow, the economy is gone gangbusters. 0 point something, 0 point something. So there are some 2006, wow, 1.3% on average, 0, wow, that's gone gangbusters. 2003, 1%, 2001 recession, okay, 1999. We can go back in time. 1998 was a recession, 1997 was okay, 1996 was a recession, and we don't have any other. Okay, here we have, okay, GDP as okay, let's see, let's start again. Let's twist again. Okay, no problem. Okay, these are, so do not seasonally adjust numbers. They come in slightly lower. These are high. Okay, now are showing up. Okay, so I believe that for the official statistics, okay. Okay, so these are the full numbers. My bad, I've been an asshole. Ok, variazione congiunturale, ok. Why they do this? They do this crap stuff. Anyway. So these are the full numbers. Okay. But anyway, yes. 2021, 8.3. That's why I said, why it's so low, the GDP in 2020, 1.6%. It seemed to me very bewildering. And okay, so we have to see variazione tendenziale. The thing is that because it's in Italian, and I am Italian, I don't really, if this stuff is not in English, I don't understand it. That's bewildering. Just do nominal GDP, real GDP, and it's easier for me to understand. Or gross nominal GDP. When it's congiunturale, tendenziale, it's holy crap. Okay, just standardized stuff. Anyways, 2015, 2013, 2012 was a disaster. Wow, this was a total disaster. No, I don't think it's measuring right, this one. No. Yep, okay. 2010 was good. 2009, I can see it was holy crap. 2008 as well, courtesy of crap United States. If there is something we should not do, is to imitate the Americans. They do all the wrong things. It's really the economic model not to imitate, but it's wrong. It's totally wrong. It's just inflated burgers. Doesn't make. It's the way they want to manage it. I don't mind, but it's only based on inflation, price inflation, printing money. So it's not real economic growth. Okay, it's not. You are producing more stuff than the year before, and then you are. Like in this instance, Italy is virtuous. You know, you want to advance your balance of payment, so you want to export more than you're importing. So you want to produce more things, make more things than year after year, so that you can do a lot of exports. That's a reasonable thing to do, but the trade-off is that most probably the output does not grow. What Italy does is to suppress wages and internal demand so that they can export more, but they are compressing consumer demand, which is net for the same amount of products that the country generates every year. So that's not a question of the euro or the lira or whatever you wanna say. It's not a question of the currency. It's a question that most probably the Italians, what they do, they suppress their domestic wages to have a competitive wedge for exports. But it's not that they generate more goods and services year after year, or at least the expansion in GDP growth. It's not sufficient for having rising wages and rising consumer demand. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Is that you want to export more. Every year you produce the same amounts of goods and services. So with rising costs, you suppress wages, and so internal demand shrinks, is contained, and for some reason it's better because that helps the saving ratio. So if savings go up, then there is more stock of savings for investment. It's the IS curve, investment saving curve with GDP. So you can have, when you have higher savings, you can have an effective lower interest rates, lower cost of borrowings for investment, and that generates eventually gross domestic products, economic output down the line. So I can say it in Italian. Can I say it in Italian? Yes, I can. Okay. In a minute. Come on, mate, just put real GDP, gross GDP, and you make it easier for me to understand, because it's as you can understand, I'm not a genius, not at all. I'm an ordinary person, an ordinary human being. The only thing is that I don't like to be taken for as a fool. If you try that, I will destroy you. No matter what. Maybe destroy, it's a bit of a strong word, but probably that's the main reason why I don't like politicians, because they, for having a vote, they say la qualunque, si dice la qualunque per avere un voto, ma in realtà poi allora, what is the difference between congiunturale e growth, valore tendenziale? Ok, so 1997, 98 was recession, so it was not so bad. Okay, in aggregate. Okay, now it starts to be more interesting because congiunturale, tendenziale, so we can extrapolate the GDP deflator and see all that kind of stuff. Okay, 2005, 3.7, 3.5 was growing quite good. 2003 was a disaster. Then we have great financial crisis, 3 years of recession, it's total crap. And okay, then we end up here. 2024 0.5, 2023 0.9. There is a lot of discrepancy in these numbers, because if we want to see the other statistics, then we have other data. But anyway, not that bad, not that bad, right, not that bad. 2022 2.2%. If we see variazione congiunturale, it's way lower. It's negative. Anyway. But it doesn't bring a lot to the table to see just the GDP number. But there are other good things in Italy, in the Italian economy. You see here how 2020 was recession, okay? Also 2019, so it's if the year before already there is negative growth, it means that there is something into the economy that already is not working. But the load of fiscal stimulus, it shoots up GDP in economic growth for 4 quarters. Then 4 quarters later, the effect is even lower. It's less sustained. On average, 5% quarter on quarter. So using fiscal stimulus is not always a good thing, because you need to know the fiscal multiplier and etc. Eventually you spend so much money that it's not worth it at the end of the fanfare. It's not worth it really. Interest payable is loads of money. Let's see if we have interest percentage of GDP, okay. total expenditure, annual growth rate, and these monetary terms. So these are comparing the stock and flow. I know I should do from March to April, but I cannot be bothered, honestly. Just take a simple average, because I said I'm not a genius. Nobody is watching this live, so I cannot be bothered about what am I doing, what I'm not doing, etc, etc. Here we can do the sum, because summed up. Yeah, gummed up 85 billion. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Everything is good. Everything is fine under the sun. Yeah, this has improved a lot. Yeah. So it's Italy. It's a good example in this instance that shrinking the cost of interest on debt, it's a very important measure in fiscal policy to have, because the cost of servicing debt is the most hampering cost on public finances. And it's a good thing. That's why then the debt to GDP ratio, I mean the rating's been upgraded. I think compared to Japan it could be A. I don't decide. So it's not all bad. It's that politicians are useless. That's the thing. They are a waste of money, honestly. Am I doing the right thing here, or what? Interest expenditure, annual growth rate. Okay, we can yeah, you can average that. Yeah, we some. Okay, no problem. No problem. No problem. Da 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 da, yada 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 yada. Yada 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 yada. Let's see. Yada 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 yada. What do we want? Stada. No, I don't need Stada now. It's not time for Stada. If you are experiencing buffering, make sure you have the highest quality in your video pixel choice. Anyways, oh come on, Excel, why you are so dumb? You are dumb. You are even more dumb than me. Can we say dumber? I don't know. Dumbo. You're even more dumb than me. I'm probably missing something in this. Oh, okay. So you learn finally. Did you learn there? Oh dear. Oh dear. Ay, caramba. No, al pitur. Holy crap. Okay, yeah, so we have here, that's good. So that shows the compression of the interest rate debt servicing burden on public finances. So as the yield curve goes down, the cost of debt, yeah, okay. So I think I'm sure, I'm certain that no Italian government would have achieved a reduction in cost of debt servicing without the ECB, or without the zero lower bound and monetary policy from the ECB. That's why I have to repeat the same thing. Politicians, they are useless. They are useless. But yes, I do want democracy. Yes, of course, I can decide by myself. I don't need a politician to tell me what is right and what is wrong. And I don't need to pay them 13,000 euro a month. A month, mate. You know how much money you're pocketing? You know how much money you are pocketing? Pickpockets. Pocketing. Yeah, I have an espresso. Espresso. It's quite boring, and I understand that nobody's watching. Thankfully, nobody's watching, which is the most satisfying thing that anybody can achieve. Okay. Yeah, okay. Problem is, there is a problem. Houston, we got a problem. Houston, we got a problem. Problem is that as the stock of debt grows, the amount of interest payable, it has grown from 60 to 85 billion. So that's a problem for fiscal sustainability. And then let's say, okay, but you must have always very low interest rate, which is not the case all the time. So anyways, we must be objective and at least see the numbers for what they are. and we must be objective and say, okay, you are crap at Excel. Yes, I'm crap. I don't like Excel. I don't use it. And if you don't use it, you lose it. What? If you don't use it, you lose it. You're a sore loser. Ooh. You're a loser. Winners and losers. What a crap method of thinking, but I don't care. Winners and losers. Have and have nots. Right and left. Right and wrong. Good and bad. Yeah. All the crap. All the easy crap. All the easy crap. All the easy crap. Is the euro good? Yeah, I think so. Here it was 6% average. I think the streaming, it's for sure there is buffering and thing, but I apologize. Yeah, in the early 2000s, the average interest rate burden was 6%, 5.5%, 4%, and it has gone a long way. It takes very long time to adjust, but the problem is that the stock of that is I mean, it's an inevitable outcome. Oh, wow. So you see what high interest do to public finances. We pick one here, 2001. We have a recession, yada yada yada. So the expenditure, government interest expenditure, 79 billion, and the stock of that in the year 2001 for sure was not the same amount as it is now, but the expenditure was 79 billion. Fast forward 20 something years later, it's 85 billion. So interest rates, they are a very large component. So when there are high interest rates, not high, but let's call it a shock or a certain kind of monetary and fiscal policy framework, and these are huge sums for public finances. In the end, it's the taxpayer who pays that. So the government has to do all the mumbo jumbo, rolling over the debt, and this, that, and the other, all the Ponzi schemes. But it's not the case that it's approaching again levels of the year 2000. Probably, is it the technology bubble, like the economic cycle? It's similar. At this point, I want to see 2008, because that can be an alarm bell. You the bell, the ball bell, you know what I mean? Not an alarm bell, but like similar patterns, that you slow march, you walk slowly into a financial and economic crisis when you get to some thresholds of interest debt servicing. You know, the usual patterns of bad management. Yeah. No, but not bad management, but yeah. Ooh, wow. See what the crisis does. 2009, 69 billion. Probably because there was a, I don't know, I cannot make up any interpretation of things, but anyway, going to the 80 billion mark, it's not a good thing. Means probably the whole thing is becoming too hot for sustainability. Why I don't like Excel? Because one, I don't know how to use it. I know only the basic functions, and then it's of no use for me to do Econometrics model. Okay, so these are the important alarm bells. Does it ring a bell? The ball bell, you know what I mean? The ball bell does ring a bell. What? Oh dear. No, I don't need full screen, otherwise it's gonna be crap. Anyways, if we want to do some simple assumption, simple assumption, 2008 80 billion, 2012 83.5 billion, 2022, and here we are on the 80 billion mark, and just recently in between 2022, 2023, 2024, Italy was placed in excessive deficit procedure, and it seems that for 2025 they reined in the excessive spending. So of course the ECB, they have the parameters, and they have to say to the Italian government, guys, you are breaching your VAR numbers, your VAR, you are in the danger zone. That's what they have to do all the time, because if it were for these people here, they would just they could not distinguish a dry fig from an apple cart, honestly. Wow, what the fuck is that? 2014. Jesus Christ. Wow, 2014 has been huge payoff. Paid a lot. No. Why are you summing this to that? No, I don't know. Excel, you are crap, honestly. You are. Okay, that's why it seemed to me so strange. It was out of the ordinary. Anyways, what I can try to figure out, because I do not pretend to understand anything or to be a genius. Really crap. Really crap as well. Okay, 2007, 76, 2008, full financial crisis. What is this? Sum or average? Average, okay, average. 80 billion in total interest expenditure. Then you have 2012 and 2011, so the sovereign debt crisis, and US, and is 6.5, 83 billion and a half. Then we have a trajectory of virtuosity of good managing, but then now it's again in the danger zone, and they have been Italy has been reprimanded for deficit violation. So this comment, they are doing all the wrong things, honestly. And doing American fiscal policy in Italy is wrong, and you don't need to listen to me, but ask to the professors and economists at the Bocconi University, and they will show you their research, and they will be able to explain you why, and what. It's ominous. It's 200 billion euros in recovery fund, and it's economic growth. It's crap. There is something wrong, which is the international situation. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. That's for sure. I cannot exempt. But mostly the problem is ideology. It's because these people, they are a menace. They are a menace. 2001 recession, so high cost of debt. So let's see. Okay, so interest expenditure as a percent of GDP. The flow, the stock, and is a total expenditure. So I can try to see. Okay. So eventually the crisis point, it's when any fiscal position and the interest rate servicing is a 10% or above level. That's the crisis point. We can see at 2011 9.4, then 10%, so you have the outcome, and then you must have a consolidation, and then it goes down. Now it's 7, so the discrepancy is the amount, because the 80 billion threshold, it's the monetary crisis point. But the percentage, it's 10%. So it means that the government is doing more spending, because the size of the economy also, it's larger. It's very easy to see here. 2012, you have 83.5 billion, which is a pretty similar amount of 2024. But the percentage of total government expenditure is 10%, and this 10% is the crisis parameter also by the that's why I don't like Excel, because it's you see 2007, 2008, the debt servicing expenditure as a percentage of total expenditure is 10%. So that was the crisis point level. Also 2006 was rising. So when there is a trend, it's your friend. You can see here. And the 80 billion mark, it's the crucial amount. And the outcome of the gross fiscal spending 2022. So we have 70 plus 80 plus billion, so the amount, it's crucial, but here, this column here, it's 7.76 of total expenditure. It's not yet 10%. So these are the discrepancies which, but it's not good. It's not good because with the zero lower bound, all the efforts that has been profused, all the effort that have been made in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever, in the past decade, in bringing the 2020 57 billion was the, okay, 2020 is lockdown, but the lowest point. Anyway, let's take it 60 billion, and now it's 25 billion more. So, I mean, in between there is the lockdown, when there is a huge expansion of fiscal spending. And the end result is that all the effort done in the past decade, it's gone for the birds, basically, which is not nice. Unit labor costs, we have seen revenues, okay, we have seen GDP, tendenziale, congiunturale. So if we want to see nice GDP data, we want to see tendenziale. Ok, quindi yes. Yeah. Mi sembra di aver capito che tendenziale è il trimestre rispetto all'anno precedente e congiunturale è trimestre su trimestre dello stesso anno. Mi sembra di aver capito una cosa del genere. Ma io sono l'ultimo degli ultimi, quindi non è che fa differenza, ma potrebbe essere una spiegazione reasonable. So here you're measuring the business cycle quarter on quarter. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Tendential. One thing that is good. One thing among the other things. One thing that is good, the unemployment rate is good. So more people are working, and it's true, women, they are working. I think, yeah. Unemployment rate, no. Okay, so let's say female unemployment here. It has gone down, yes, to 6.2%, 6%. Let's make it to 6%. That's monthly recorded data, and it was 11.5%, 12%, even higher in the 1980s. 15%. So there were periods of high unemployment for women. In the late 90s was even higher, 16%. Nobody was working among women, and now there is a lot of progress has been achieved, and so it's 6%, which is good. Employment or unemployment, sorry, yeah, it's mentioned unemployment. So it's been stable around 5, 6, 7%, something like that. Total unemployment between, okay, then starting age. Okay. So latest measures 5.2, 5.7, including the youngsters from 15 years old. So here is not the lowest in history, because in the 1980s, well, it depends. If we exclude, in the 1980s, if we exclude, the age bracket here is reported 25 to 74, so adults, yeah, which is, to me, is the most precise. I would exclude anybody below the age of 20 years old, because you have mandatory education requirements up to 18 years old at least. Anyways, so in the 1980s it was 3.5%, 3.7, and then it gradually has been, there has been some slack, also because of the demographics or some sort of things. But in the late 90s, total crap, 8%, 7%. And then now it's 5% again. So, yeah, 6%. So the business cycle in the early 1980s was better than for employment than the late 90s or the 2000s. It's not a question of it's a question of many factors, and it's probably the composition of the economy, because the economy in the 1980s was not the economy that we have now. It was all nationalized, and when you start to privatize stuff, then people become unemployed. You see here how, okay, yeah, so the red line, it's the adults unemployment, was lower in the 1980s, was 3.5%. I don't know how precise was the statistical data then compared to now. The overall unemployment rate, it's quite low for it's good for historical standards, but the 1980s economy was slightly better for certain reasons. I do not know. Yeah, the female unemployment, it's a good thing. Female unemployment, including all 15 to 74, is not. I would exclude people below the 20 years old, because it's not. But you see the trajectory; it's way loads of an improvement for women that can work, have a decent civil and legal status in a decent civilized society. Okay, so these are the various different collection of the unemployment measure. It depends on all these letters, etc. Some columns, of course, are in millions of people, hundreds of thousands of millions of people. So it collects the population amount. Anyway, so there are good things on the employment side. I didn't have time to look at productivity. So stock main financial instruments, changing financial asset. Yeah, there are interesting things. Net financial asset consolidated. Holy crap. Anyway, I think I can switch off now, because I understand it's not interesting to anybody. Imports, exports. Let's see if we have some other interesting thing that yeah, deficit or surplus, so we can see fiscal balance. The thing is that I'll have to take all this data, put it together in a coherent time frame, quarterly time frame, and do the econometric modeling, which is it takes a long time, it takes a lot of work, which it's not paid by anyone. So I hope you understand. There is a wonderful song, "Wayman, where are you going?" I hope you understand this is a lot of work, unpaid work by anyone. And I mean, I don't measure anything in money, but it's work. So it's uncollected, not measured productivity, I would rather say. To be optimistic, in the most optimistic of these worlds is the end of the world. Doesn't matter. All it counts, it's antimatter. So, going primary deficit or surplus is a percentage of GDP. If you want to go for a P, no problem. At a wee, you wanna go for a wee? What are you talking about? Are you weeing? You wee. How are you? So also the ECB, it has this letters which is like quantum mechanics. God's sake. Okay. This is how I have fun. So I think YouTube is not receiving enough video. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I apologize. I apologize for any inconvenience in the live streaming of buffering. But as you can imagine, I'm not traveling at a 1 gigabit speed internet. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. So where is it? Deficit, surplus. Holy crap! So first of all, we'll have to decide. Do we want date? Do you want a date, Mike, or a time period? I would call it date and use the time period format. So 9 Q1, Q2, Q3. So we can do like that. We delete the column. And I cannot say something in my dialect like mannaggia colon, ma l'ho detto. Anyway, so let's try to form a coherent, what is that? Total expenditure, total bullshit. It's total and utter bullshit. Sorry, I think I got. This is going to be very bad. I apologize if you find some of the language offensive. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? That total crap. Where is it? There's it surplus. Paste special. This is a special edition. Let's see if it works. Crap Excel. Do some work for me, crap Excel. No, it doesn't. It doesn't want to do the work. Copy paste. Yeah, it's a copy paste. What is the problem? It's a copy paste. It's all a copy and paste. You're copying and pasting. You're pasting and copying. It's all a copy paste paste on. Why ask me to install something that I should have already? Yeah, add to Chrome. Add extension. No thanks. Anyway, if you're interested, I'm using Vivaldi, which is a European browser, and it's actually very good. Now I'm trying to do something for no reason, but anyway, I want to see if it works. It doesn't work. Okay, no, it doesn't matter. I'll just work with this thing. Then later on, I will manage in putting together the columns that I want to work with. And so you have witnessed how I'm crap in Excel. Oh, what place special? I'm really crap at Excel. Really, really, really crap. Where is that? Okay. Dun 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 dun. It's copying and pasting. I need this. Oh no. Okay. No. I don't need that. Just okay. I will do it later, while I'm not on camera, because it's crap. Anyway, deficit and surplus. We are not in a good spot here. Primary deficit. Primary deficit. Primary deficit. Is that possible we are always so deficient in doing things? Why? It's probably average. It's probably me that I have a deficit. 100 and no, what 100? 11 billion. Wow, it's a great number. Okay. I'm quite sure I should not take the average. Maybe the compounded formula should use probably. Let's see if we I don't need that. I promise in the next few minutes I will survive. Okay, so there was a huge deficit in 2023. That's why I said, hey you. Let's use the product formula, the magic formula. No, I don't need that. I need these ones. Why? What is the problem? What is your problem, Excel? Why are you so idiot? Oh, come on. Okay. Let's rewrite it. Product of 1 plus this crap minus 1. Okay, I was about to swear, so better I don't do it. Let's use another cell. That's why I hate Excel. Okay, I'm making a fool of myself, which is totally unnecessary. I think I'll have to love you and leave you because I got other things to do. But I want to win this battle against Excel. Okay, I want to win the battle against Excel. Da 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 da. Okay, let's see. Let's see who's gonna win Excel. Let's see if you want to work for me or not. Ah, holy crap. You're so annoying, Excel, that now you have to do it the brute force way. Anyways, there is always a ways. Millions of years away, there was a civilization in the Milky Ways, which was so dumb. Ha! Who? What are you talking about? Oh, this is unreal. No, it's not a good idea to use the compounded factor. Definitely not. I think I need to study Excel, how to use Excel. I don't think the square brackets will make a dry fig of any difference. No, they're going to make things worse. But yeah, I could use the... It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, you know, we need a bit of irony. Ebony and irony. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm getting really tired, and it's evident that I need to study Excel, something I will never do. Loads. So thank you all for watching this live. If you can subscribe, you see I'm a pretty normal, quite ordinary human being, and you will find a lot of nice videos, very long videos in which I'm talking and showing charts and study that I do, which are not in absolute term perfect. They may be full of errors, so you do your own research, or there are the official government data, but I work with the official government data, so I'm only autonomous in what do I do. for my own knowledge improvement, because you know that I'm crap at Excel. You can see here, you can go on the ECB website and you can find all the data that you need. If you want to see, I don't know, any country data, you can find it. And make an idea of your own, so you don't need me to tell you what to think. It's the most ominous and odious thing to do, to pretend to say to people what to think, what to do. Anyways, thank you so much, and see you soon, hopefully, when I will be able to, when I will have learned better to use Excel. Alright, cheers.